What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're here talking about my Philadelphia Eagles. They just landed a very good play. I'm shocked that they were able to get Anthony Harris. They just signed Anthony Harris to a 1-year, $5 million deal. Looking at this right here by Rappaport. What? I recorded a video earlier. It should have been up by now. But then there was news that Philadelphia is bringing in Adoree Jackson, who recently got released by the Tennessee Titans on Monday, and I was just going to talk about that. And midway through my video, I was talking about Juju Smith-Schuster, because apparently the Eagles put in an offer on Juju Smith-Schuster that was more money than what he got from Pittsburgh, and he kind of flipped the bird to Philadelphia. There was things to talk about, but ultimately my video was like literally being like, hey, C4, how can I, as an Eagle content creator on YouTube, try to like calm everyone down just a little bit? Because Philadelphia, till about half hour ago, was incredibly quiet in free agency. And I was trying to like say that because of Philadelphia's limited cap space, because the salary cap went down, and really when you look around the rest of the NFL, most of, like, if you look at any list for the most part that like ranks the top 10 available free agents, most of those top 10 guys re-signed with their original team. So there's like a really kind of lame, not super exciting free agency period. And I wanted to say that's kind of what we're experiencing in Philadelphia, but it's also kind of what everyone else is experiencing around the league, unless you're the New England Patriots. I use this, like it's already cropped up. I was using this just to show in the original video, I was going through all the positions that Philadelphia kind of needed to address. I'll do that really, really quickly because now we actually have something to talk about in Anthony Harris. For Philadelphia, I was like, all right, for QBs, we're definitely going to want a veteran quarterback. I think someone like Colt McCoy makes some sense. If you want a guy that could kind of not really push Jalen Hurts, I think either of the 49ers quarterbacks, CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins, those guys could be interesting. But if I still had to say, C4, if you could bring in a quarterback, not through the draft, who would it be? And it's looking like more and more by the day that the Raiders are going to cut Marcus Mariota. That would be my guy. I would rather sign Marcus Mariota in free agency to come in and compete with Jalen Hurts than draft any quarterback at 6. Because, every year, I don't know if you guys watch my content. If you're brand new, every year I get something. It's, I don't know what it is in the back of my head. It was like, I don't want Jalen Reagor. Philly got Jalen Reagor. I didn't want Andre Dillard. Philly got Andre Dillard. I didn't want Derek Barnett. They got Derek Barnett. And for some really weird reason, this year it's saying Mac Jones. Mac Jones at 6. I don't know why, but it is. But if we're just talking about the other quarterbacks, Trey Fields, Justin Lance, potentially at 6, I think I would rather Marcus Mariota and use that pick 6 elsewhere than the quarterback spot. Other needs for Philadelphia, you can look at running backs because we really do need that Naheem Hines type guy. And I actually think the best and smartest thing for Philadelphia to do at that spot is just to draft one. But if they are looking at free agency, I think Duke Johnson Jr. could be intriguing. He's still only 27. Let's adjust this here just a little bit. He's still only 27. So there's a chance that, he could offer a little bit of value to Philadelphia. I talked about some of the tight ends that are available that could be interesting. Obviously, there's a connection there with Trey Burton. I think Dan Arnold could be intriguing from a pure receiving standpoint to complement Dallas Goedert. Richard Rodgers, I would bring Richard Rodgers back. I'm telling you right now as an Eagle fan, I think most Eagle fans would agree. You give me the 10 best Richard Rodgers snaps and you give me the 10 best Zach Ertz snaps from last year, and Richard Rodgers looked like the better tight end. So I would like to actually bring back Richard Rodgers. Look at that PFF score. 88. Number 2. I mean, I didn't, like I said, I didn't use PFF to focus on their scores. I just like their website. It looked the easiest for free agents. But yeah, there's options there in free agents for to bring in a second tight end behind Dallas Goedert. On the offensive line, the one guy I would like them to take a look at is Forrest Lamp. I've talked about that before, just because he was a guy that came in as a good legit second round pick, didn't really develop in LA. But Philadelphia is one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL, and Jeff Stoutland. And I think someone like Forrest Lamp, he's versatile, can play guard, he can play tackle, and I think there could be some upside there that Jeff Stoutland could develop. I really don't think Philly should be investing on the defensive line. We've had a bad track record. Malik Jackson, Javon Hargrave, even though Hargrave caught on near the end of last year, still a little bit nervous about that contract we handed out. So I'd rather we avoid those positions. Quickly talking about linebackers, I think Eric Wilson is the guy. I would like to pair another Minnesota Viking with the Anthony Harris signing, which I'll talk about in just one second. But we did bring over the Minnesota Vikings linebacker coach. So there's that familiarity there. Eric Wilson is more of a cover linebacker, not great at run defense. So he complements what we already have in Alex Singleton, who's a great run defender, can blitz well, but is kind of a liability when it comes to pass coverage and covering tight ends and stuff. So I think Eric Wilson and Alex Singleton would complement each other, plus pair Jabril Cox or something like that from the draft. I would be very happy. And lastly, we have the defensive backs, and we'll start with corners. Philly definitely needs to still get a corner, and there's reports that Adoree Jackson is meeting with the Giants on Sunday, the Eagles on Monday. It'd be a little annoying if he just goes to the Giants and that thing doesn't happen with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I didn't think right away that you think Adoree Jackson, I think a small, nimble player, great at return man, pretty good ball hawk, but he's undersized and he's struggled to stay healthy. But the more I looked into it, the more it's like I read about him coming into USC. He was a fringe top 10 run defense cornerback when he was coming out of USC into the draft. That's what you need in this brand new Gannon system, the DB coach from the Colts that is our new defensive coordinator, You need to be able to tackle. And Adoree Jackson tackled in college, didn't tackle particularly well at Tennessee, but that'd be actually an unreal signing for Philadelphia. Kind of high risk, high reward. He's only 25, so if you can get Adoree Jackson, you can get him healthy, you get him in a scheme, he buys in, that would be an unreal signing for Philadelphia. Someone that you can build around, and more importantly, someone that can go on the other side of Darius Slay that can help us out. I mean, if not, I think someone like Brian Poole, especially on how they view the slot spot. I mean, I don't know how Philadelphia is going to view Avonte Maddox. Are they going to want to move him to safety? They're going to want him to be a depth player? Do they think him as a starter? If not, I think Brian Poole, I love him. I mean, I'm a Gator fan, Gator bias, but he's a guy I think he can play a little bit of free safety, but you don't need that anymore. But he's a good tackler, can hit. Still only 28. You give him a 2-3 year contract, maybe an out after 2 years. I definitely have Brian Poole near the top of my list for corners. And the last big one is Xavier Rhodes. I think Xavier Rhodes would be an unreal signing because we saw last year at Indianapolis, he thrived in our new DC scheme. He tackles, he'd fit well, he'd be a nice 1 year type Band-Aid at corner. I really want Xavier Rhodes, but I think the issue is Xavier Rhodes coming off that big year, he probably wants to sign to a team that's going to be contender. And as much as I would love to think that Philadelphia can go on an underdog story and Jalen Hurts can bring us to certain levels and stuff like that, it's most likely that you're going to be in a rebuild, and someone like Xavier Rhodes, who's going to be 31 sooner than later next year, he's probably going to want to chase a ring. I don't know if you want to be coming to a team that's on the outside looking in like Philadelphia. And then we're finishing with the safeties here. And we'll save this one. I literally, in the video this morning, I didn't even mention him because you look at, I'll show you some articles here. I didn't do any homework on it. I thought it was completely out the realm of possibility. I'm like, if Philly's going after safety, we'd have to go maybe a Malik Hooker, where it's like you're buying a guy that has really good talent, but has struggled to stay healthy. Or Keanu O'Neal, same kind of thing. Like a Malik Hooker, Keanu O'Neal, Hooker at free safety, Keanu O'Neal at strong safety. That's really, really damn good if they can stay healthy. I did not think, and I still think, honestly, even with the Anthony Harris signing, you could still have Philadelphia in for one of these guys. Probably less so Malik Hooker, which I was always a little suspect about because Gannon was there in Indy while they were still pumping investments into safeties. They got Julian Blackmon. They got Kerry Willis, right? And if you're confident in Malik Hooker, you're not going to be spending the premium picks that, well, not premium, but second, third, fourth, fifth round, not garbage tail end of the draft picks at the safety spot. So maybe while it's convenient to make that Colt comparison, maybe our coach never really liked Malik Hooker. So I'm going to be all on board on Keanu O'Neal. I would love Philly to bring in Keanu O'Neal. But out of nowhere, 1 year, $5 million to get Anthony Harris, who was a fringe All-Pro in 2019. You can see for the PFF score, again, feels gross talking about that. But he had a 91.1, and the year before that, he had an 89. So he was banged up a little bit last season, but he's really good tackler. He's a ball hawk outside of last year, which is why maybe his value kind of dipped. He didn't have a lot of turnovers last year. I don't even think he had any. I think that was kind of the knock against him. But the fact is that when you look at some of these reports about him coming in, this is what I'm going to have to do to you guys because 100% was not on my radar. I thought 1 year, $5 million. Did he get hurt? And there's something I don't know, but I definitely want to hear Minnesota Viking fans in the comment section will kind of explain this to me. But when you are looking, let's pop this here. Look at this. There's the PFF article about him. Sure, right? They got him on the tag. We literally got him for half the price that the Minnesota Vikings paid him last year. Was he half as good? I mean, you look at all these numbers here. Since 2018 to 2019, he's just ahead of Derwin James and Earl Thomas when it comes to grading for whatever it's worth. I think it is something, though, that you can bring up. It's a 1-year, $5 million deal, so it's not like we're trying to justify a long-term contract by like trying to gas him up with his PFF numbers. It's a 1-year flyer, and this is a guy that has played at an incredibly high level. Coverage level of a 94.3, which is absolutely Philadelphia. He needs that free safety. And a guy like, this is the guy that we should have brought in like last year somehow to replace Malcolm Jenkins and not just kind of go like, yeah, maybe we have something. But like as you go down here, man, you're seeing a guy that can tackle well, which is important, very important in the scheme. You can have him excel in a zone defense, which is what Philadelphia's going to run a lot. And you know, you're looking at, this is the thing that like this page here was the one that was kind of interesting. It's like a Browns fan thing. I was just trying to like, what's going on with Anthony Harris? I was more so trying to figure out why is he so cheap right now. And while I was reading this, it's like, all right, well, the first thing that I noticed is that when you go on that PFF site that I was using just for like standard free agents, he's the 7th overall free agent out of all the players. And he's coming to Philadelphia on a $5 million deal. The second part, and again, this is just an article. It's not like, you know, this is the, you know, take it at gospel. But again, I was trying to dig of like, was he really like terrible last year? Why are we getting that value? And then this is just, this guy predicts that Anthony Harris will get a 4-year, $56 million contract with about half of that guaranteed. And Philly just got him on a 1-year, $5 million. Like, is there allegations? Is he going to get a suspension? Like, what is happening? I get he's 30, right? He's 30, but like this is kind of like this took the words out of my mouth. He's 30, but he was like kind of a depth player for a lot of years. So there's not a lot of miles there. While his age is up there and you're slightly concerned, it's only a 1-year deal for Philadelphia. And really, the only red flag I would say with Anthony Harris is how much better did Harrison Smith make him look? Like, I would love a Viking fan to be like, was there any games that Harrison Smith missed? And you can then kind of say, like, well, did Anthony Harris look good? Did he step up in those games? Or did he kind of get exposed? Because good players get other average role players paid big-time money. Like, that's something where I was talking about Eric Wilson, right? They could be a great linebacker fit to come to Philadelphia, but you also kind of have like, well, plays next to like Eric Kendricks. So you're playing next to the best linebacker, one of the best linebackers in football. It's going to make you look a lot better. And then when you go to another team where you're expected to be that guy, you kind of look out of your depth and it doesn't quite pan out. That would be my only worry about Anthony Harris is how good did Harrison Smith make him look? You know, looking at some of his gaudy numbers there just a little bit. But, I mean, for the most part, this is a very good signing for Philadelphia. I was here just to completely go on the anti-Howie, like we've made no moves, and we missed out on Juju Smith-Schuster, which, I mean, my take on that is, you know, I mean, given the contract that he got, we don't know the exact numbers for Philadelphia, but it seems like it would have been expensive. Philadelphia does not have a lot of salary cap. If we did sign Juju Smith-Schuster to a multi-year deal, you'd kind of be gambling like that's our big catch this offseason. We got Juju, and then we'll get like some vet minimum guys to kind of fill out the roster. And we're going to gamble that Juju Smith-Schuster probably we could be a wide receiver 1, but for my opinion, I think Juju's a good wide receiver 2. Kind of a knob. Like he doesn't look like a guy that's, you know, he's not a bad guy, which is good. I mean, the bike stuff and all that stuff was good, but I mean, obviously, you know, the TikTok and all that, like, that's just a little like, that's a little bit of diva that like you'd rather you not, like it's not an issue, but if you could pick and choose, you'd probably rather your guy be more like Julio Jones and just be a bit strictly business. But I think for Philadelphia, you get that big fish in Juju Smith-Schuster, right? Limits the amount that you can spend and diversify. And I think diversifying for where Philadelphia is right now as a roster, an expensive old roster, that this is the beginning of a rebuild. I would rather kind of take the approach that we had in Doug Peterson's first year, where we signed 3, 4, 5 different guys, like mid-ish level guys, and we ended up getting like Nigel Bradham. He ended up being very, very good for us. And like another year, we got Patrick Robinson. Like not super cheap, dirt cheap guys, but guys that are like kind of under the radar, and they pan out. And I think for Philadelphia this year, I think it'd be more important not to spend that money on a Juju Smith-Schuster and then instead get 3 to 4 to 5 guys like Anthony Harris. And if you can get an Xavier Rhodes, a Brian Poole, an Eric Wilson kind of thing for the same kind of money-ish that you would be committing or guaranteeing to Juju Smith-Schuster over the next couple years, I think that's going to be better long-term because if you get those 5 guys and 2 or 3 of those guys develop into a starter, that's more important for Philadelphia than having a really good wide receiver too. Especially given the fact that I don't think they want to give up on Jalen Reagor. We don't really know for sure what we have in Travis Fulgham, right? Like, look really, really good. It needs to get more consistency. Hopefully the new offense can do that. And then you hope still at pick 6 that you can get one of the big time wide receivers. If you told me right now, C4, would you rather Jamar Chase than Juju Smith-Schuster? Yeah. Would you rather Jalen Waddle than Juju Smith-Schuster? Yeah. Kyle Pitts over Juju Smith-Schuster? Yep. Devontae Smith over Juju Smith-Schuster? Yeah. I'd rather pretty much any of the receiving options at 6 over Juju Smith-Schuster. So, I mean, for me, it's water on the bridge, but, it would have been an exciting signing for sure. But Anthony Harris, going to this. Let's look at his stats real quick. This what we're looking for? Nope. We are looking for this one. There we go, baby. Anthony Harris. So, there we go. Sporadic starter, kind of a role player until 2018. We can see in 2018, again, stats don't tell the whole story. But role player in 2018 at strong safety, played in at least 9 starts. You got 3 picks, a couple pass deflections there, 46 tackles. And then the last 2 years, last year was outrageous. 6 interceptions, 11 pass deflections. One of those was a pick 6, 60 total tackles. And the biggest thing for me, you read through those PFF stuff, doesn't miss tackles. I think he only had 4 missed tackles over the last couple of years, which is, we miss a lot of tackles in the secondary. And then obviously last year, no interceptions, 7 pass breakups, over 100 tackles, which is good. You're going to probably have to tackle a lot on our defense as we try to reshape this with limited funds. All in all, man, it's a good piece of business here. It's just weird. There's no other way we're 16 minutes in. I want to wrap this up. There's no other way to talk about this than it's a weird contract because Philadelphia is not really going to compete or contend or any of that stuff, yet we're getting a veteran that's good on a 1-year deal. So it's like, he's at that age at 30 where it's like, okay, you go to Philadelphia, maybe you can look really good. You're going to put in a great spot where your value is going to go up. But then it's like, why wouldn't you just go back to Minnesota? Like it doesn't make sense. I'm very confused. And I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if there's something like, oh, yeah, he's facing like an 8-game suspension or something like that. And I hope not. Hopefully he's a great guy, and he's going to be the next great Philadelphia Eagle. It's an exciting signing, man. PFF stuff aside, if you just told me, let me look at all the safeties. If you, Justice Simmons never really hit the mark. I probably would take Marcus Williams over Anthony Harris. You got Marcus Mays there as well. I'd say definitely Anthony Harris is more so in the tier of, he's probably, I think Justice Simmons was tier 1, and then tier 2, you probably have Anthony Harris at the top of Marcus Williams, Marcus May, John Johnson, unsigned guys. We got Kareem Jack, older, Lee Cooker. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I don't know if I would have had him as my 7 free agent, but he's probably my top 25. And absolutely did not think he'd be on Philly's radar. So I'm happy with this signing. Really want to hear what Viking fans think, especially about from last year. But from what I can kind of see on social media, Viking fans are very confused as to how cheap he was and why they wouldn't pay it. And anytime you sign any free agent, for the most part, you can really tell, at least if it's a solid move and not a bad move, by the reaction of the former team. And it does seem like a lot of Viking fans are a little bit cheesed that they couldn't bring him back on a 1-year, $5 million deal. So definitely want to hear you guys in the comment section below. Hopefully, like some of the other free agents that I talk about, it comes to fruition. I would like to maybe follow up this Viking signing with an Eric Wilson signing and hopefully not overpay. But hopefully more news come in the coming days. Originally, for this video, it didn't have the Anthony Harris thing. Didn't have me talking about Adoree Jackson, which could be a video down the line. And I did tag on a 7-round Eagles mock draft. But because my whole upload schedule got kind of kicked to shit here, I think tomorrow will be an Eagles mock draft, and then Sunday we will have the fallout from the coaching carousel mishap with Tom Savage in our NCAA 14 dynasty. So we'll be back here tomorrow with an Eagles mock draft. My rest of my content right now, it's getting uploaded on my Patreon, on my positional rankings, but all that is going to shift towards YouTube in the month of April. That's my plan. If you want team-specific mock drafts, like C4, when you're doing your 32-team 7-round mock draft, that's so much work this year. That is just staying on my Patreon because I can just copy and paste it and just kind of do write-ups versus recording a video every single time. But I will have an Eagles mock draft tomorrow, and I hope you guys tune in for that. So thank you guys for watching. Hyped that Anthony Harris is a new member of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and peace out.